going to see our total volume of semen collected. 64 mils. And then we are going to go ahead and get a count on it, just like you would if you were collecting to ship semen. We keep everything in the incubator so it's all warm and there's no drastic temperature change. So you're going to fill this up, get your lid on. And put it in here so you can get a good count. All right, so it is 185 million sperm cells per mil. So that is what this counter told us. You can write this down. All right. And then we are going to centrifuge it. So we need to do 1 to 1. So 1 part INRA, 1 part semen. So I've already got this preloaded with 20 of INRA. So I'm going to go to 40. And I always try to keep this out of the light. So like I'll go ahead and put this in here and I'll just put it in my pocket. That way it's not in the light. Everything kills sperm. Light, too hot, too cold, too much movement. Pretty much anything and everything. So we try to really handle it with care. We are going to go to 40. So we are doing the total volume. We are going to freeze all of it. We did not have a shipment today, but we wanted to go ahead and freeze anyways. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and put this in the centrifuge. It always needs to be level. You either need 2 or 4. So I have 1 filled with water. That way we can just balance it out. I've already got that ready. And then it is at 2050 RPM for 10 minutes is what we are going to do. So we're going to go ahead and hit start. And then in 10 minutes, this will be spun down in the centrifuge. Okay, so we are at 185 million per mil. We ended up doing 51 cc's of semen. So we're going to do 185 times 51. And then if you do cushion in here, you would times it by 0.9. I do not use cushion, so I'm going to times by 0.75. That means that we are retrieving 75% of the sperm cells because we didn't use cushion. And then we want a 250 million per mil concentration on frozen. So we're going to divide by 250 million per mil. So we should have a little over 28 cc's or mil of semen, which is perfect. I already know that he freezes in the violet, and this is a 30 mil bottle. So that is perfect for what we need for today. So we are going to take this out of our centrifuge. We are going to use our aspirator, and we need to get all of this supernatant off of the top. By centrifuging, the little sperm pellet is down in the bottom of the tube. So we are getting all that stuff off the top. And you can either wait till the end to put your extender in until you do all 3. I like to do a little bit at a time and then get it on the rocker right away. And I'm going to end up combining all 3 of these at the end, so it really doesn't matter how much I'm putting in this one, because they're all going to go together at the end. All right, tube number 2. Turn our aspirator back on. Get all the supernatant off the top. Get down as close as you can to the sperm pellet. Leave just a little bit in there. Go ahead and get your frozen semen extender in. Again, I like to do these one at a time so they can get on the rocker right away. So here you can see the little sperm pellet. That is what we are re-extending. So we centrifuged all the semen down to the bottom, all the little sperm cells, sucked off all the extra stuff we don't want. Now we're putting the frozen semen extender in here, and we are going to re-suspend that sperm pellet in the bottom back into this. So that is what this whole process of centrifuging is doing. All right, here's our last one. Perfect. All right, I'm going to put the rest of my extender in. And then go ahead and get this one on the rocker. And let it go ahead and get resuspended into the frozen semen extender. Okay, so I'm going to re-explain the math equation I got too, because I kind of went over it fast. So the 185 million number, that was our semen number per mil that our semen counter told us. So that is what he produced per mil. He gave us 51 mils of semen. So we're timesing those two numbers. And we're timesing it by 0.75 because I did not use cushion. That is telling us that this is what we should retrieve by centrifuging it. We're going to lose about 25%. Sucking it off with this, sucking the supernatant out, we'll lose 25%. So that is where that 0.75 comes from. And then we are dividing it by 250 million because that is the number that we want to freeze in. That's the concentration. So 185 million times 51 times 0.75 divided by 250 million. And that gets comes to 28.3. So we should have roughly 28.3 mils to freeze of semen at 250 million per mil. Okay, so we have got our 3 tubes, our 3 sperm pellets resuspended back into the frozen extender. So I'm going to go ahead and combine all these. And remember, every mil is 250 million sperm cells. So this little bit that's dropping, I try to get every little drop because there's a lot of sperm cells in here. It's very concentrated. This is our last one. Again, you're trying to get every little drop out of there. And then I am going to put it back on the rocker just so those 3 can resuspend back in evenly. All right, so we have now got our 3 tubes all mixed together and resuspended together. Now it is time. So this is our straw filler. It does 5 straws at a time. You load the cotton part at the top. You go down in your semen. And you want to go up halfway, roughly half, and then you pull out of the semen, and you are going to come up a little bit, so you leave a little air bubble in your straw. If you do not leave an air bubble, they will burst. So you always want to make sure you leave that little air bubble in the middle. And then this is our PVC sealing powder. So what we're doing is sealing this end so the semen can't come out. And then we take a paper towel and get that all cleaned off. That looks better. And then we will take them off here and we will put them right on our rack. Nice and organized. We'll get 5 more. Get them loaded, cotton end first. Down into the semen. Go up halfway. Pull out, give yourself a little bubble, go the rest of the way. I always kind of rub it against the side, that way, you're getting your semen, you're not losing any, it's going back down into the rest. Seal the bottom with your powder. Clean off the ends. Place them on the rack. Get 5 more. Cotton end first. Down into the semen. Pull up halfway. Put a little air bubble. Go back in. So this is what they look like. So you've got your air bubble in the middle, your cotton at the top, the sealing powder that you did, and place on the rack. This is the ARS Equine Freeze Kit. So I am going to go ahead and get my nitrogen dumped in here. That way it's ready for the straws. You just need to make sure that it's deep enough that once you dump your rack, all your straws are in the nitrogen. Put your cork back in, get your lid on. That way it can be getting the box cold while you're still finishing your straws. That way it'll be ready when you're ready. All right, so we've got our box cooled off with our nitrogen. We've got all of our straws on our rack. So we are gonna put it in here. This rack is floating above the nitrogen, and it needs to float for 15 minutes above the nitrogen because it needs to be a slow process of the temperature change. So in 15 minutes, we will come back and we will dump it in the nitrogen. So we're gonna put our lid on and set our timer for 15 minutes. Okay, so I'm gonna get my canes and goblets ready. My semen is still on the rack, getting ready to be dumped. So I am gonna get this ready because I'm gonna put the straws right in here when I put it in my tank. So I am going to go ahead and get the bottom 3 of these loaded. So you end up being able to store more. This holds 2 of these. So you can store a lot more in your nitrogen tank. So let me get this. I need 3 of these so I can label the top. And you want to go ahead and label the tops of these. That way when you look down in your nitrogen tank, you don't have to pull everything out. You can just look and the name is going to be right on here. Because you cannot get the straws out of the nitrogen for very long. So I'm going to go ahead, put this on here. We're doing voltage, so I'm going to write his name. So I'm going to do this so this is ready. I'm going to do that for all 3 of these. All right, so I'm going to write his name on it. Perfect. All right, our timer went off. It has been 15 minutes. So we are going to go ahead, dump our straws off the rack so they're totally submerged in the liquid nitrogen. So we are going to thaw out 1 straw. We do this from every collection to see how it thaws after freezing. So I'm going to go ahead, put it in my water bath, and I wait 30 seconds, and then I will get it out of the water bath. It'll be thawed. So it's been 30 seconds. I'm going to go ahead and get my straw out of the water bath. I'm going to bring it over. I'm going to grab some of this. All right, so I'm going to get this. This is what I'm going to let it all come down into. I'm going to cut off one end. Put that end down in here. Cut off the other. And then you can see this is our frozen semen. So we are going to get our pipette. And you are going to, look at the sperm, look at the semen just like you would any other time on your microscope. Okay. Put it under here. See how it cooled. See how it froze. Looks great. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and get these in here into the nitrogen. That way they can go ahead and get cold. I'm gonna dip my little deals in here, so they're cold also. And then I'm gonna go ahead and start filling these. There's a couple different tools you can use to fill these. I personally just think the hemostats work just fine. So I actually bought the little pinchers for this, and I think these work better. So it's really whatever works best for you to get these loaded. All right, and then again, you can only have the straws out of the nitrogen for 2 to 3 seconds. So you are gonna make sure you pull it out with the name side up and put it down in your container. So I'm gonna write on here that I'm putting it in canister number 6. Voltage straws are green in green goblets. And you, again, 2 to 3 seconds. So you're gonna get this up, put it in here, and put that right back down in the nitrogen.